All right, so recently Danco made a video called Optimus Prime and Superman is closer than you think. And I'm like, okay, yeah, respectable video, pretty simple. But then I was reminded of something. And I was like, hold up, wait a minute, right? Because last time I checked, you did a video, Danco, on Ultron versus what was it? Megatron, right? And you said that it wasn't close at all. Now that's pretty interesting in my opinion. You have the sheer fact that we have Ultron and Megatron not being close here. And me looking at this video again, looking at the information, I'm just like, dude, what? Why are you talking about this? But yet you think Superman versus Thor is close. Optimus Prime versus Superman is close. But Megatron versus Ultron, who would get, in my honest opinion, I think Superman would beat Ultron. High difficulty, of course, in a one-on-one situation, because Ultron's usually a prepper anyway. With high difficulty, though. I think Ultron would win here. So, shout out to Nitro Killer 459 for this here, and please go subscribe to his channel. If y'all rock with me, y'all gotta rock with him. So it is what it is here today. So without further ado, let's really talk about this here. Now, Danco starts off the video like he usually does, just discussing the feats and attributes of their characters, right? Now, before I really get into this here, I will let y'all know this. If y'all really want my opinion on it, let me explain it just right now. Do I think Optimus Prime versus Superman is a close fight? Yes, just base normal IDW versus Prime Earth Superman. If you add alternity, that turns it into Optimus's favor. He is a multi-dimensional, infinitely layered being as an avatar, and then his true form goes beyond that. So it is what it is at that point. But back to this subject here on Megatron versus Ultron, right? We have I guess you could just kind of skim over this and go to this number here, 16.49, where he starts to break down here. Now, throughout this video, Danco pretty much explains feats as normally, but he doesn't really quantify anything from Megatron. And I don't know what it is when people actually do try to touch Transformers content, but they sound like they're reading from a, what's it called? Kind of a old Versus Battles wiki thread, which Versus Battles Wiki has currently updated their information on Transformers, even stating that their cosmology gets to outer versal. And it's actually pretty funny, right? Because Danco, actually states that, yeah, Megatron's super strong. He can rip apart Cybertronians. He can lift this and lift that. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going to need a quantification, because the average Cybertronian, apparently by Transformers Galaxies, is around solar system level, because they can literally fight around black holes. Again, yeah, y'all heard me. They can fight around black holes. Going around them, diving in and out here. But again, if they stay in there for prolonged periods of time, yes, they will eventually die. But again, they have to be in there for so long that it causes wear and tear damage. And again, Cybertronians are not normal metal. So you have the sheer fact that Megatron is casually Solar System Plus, because again, he's one-shotting these Cybertronians. One-shotting requires a 10 times difference of that opponent. So he would be 10 times that of an average Cybertronian, or pretty much low-tier Autobots, who are around that tier as well. Okay? And again, being able to one-shot someone is a 10 times difference, so Megatron will be vastly above that. Now, if you go further into the video on the 1649 section, he actually says that Optimus is nowhere near Thor, who currently operates on a consistent planetary level basis, and that his potential is universal. We're talking about the same Thor that was cracking celestial armors, the same Thor that knocked out the Phoenix Force. Yeah, sure, Ultron was able to give this Thor a hard time here, again, when he was prepared and had an adamantium body. But here's the thing, right? Ultron does not scale to current Thor. Current Thor has the power of the following. He has himself, the power cosmic. He has the Odin Force, the full totality of it now, by the way, and he just absorbed the power of Zeus, essentially giving him the Zeus Force as well. And the thing is, that's not even close to Thor's potential. Thor is meant to be the strongest out of all the gods. This includes his mother Gaia. This includes peak prime Odin, peak prime Zeus and stuff like that here. Any god you can think of that's roaming around in Marvel, Thor is going on this journey to surpass them. Even the gods that have not even been discovered and are lying in pretty much lying and hiding in a much higher realm, he's going to surpass them as well. That is actually Thor's potential, Danco. And then the sheer fact that he does discuss Yggdrasil, but he doesn't discuss in the depths that there is. Or the depths that it should be, I should say here. Thor shaking Yggdrasil as a baby, with Yggdrasil being an infinitely layered construct with quantum universes. Okay, all infinite in size. And to be kind of honest with you guys here, I'm going to say this, and I know some people are going to get mad at me. Ultron is only an Avengers level threat when he has prep. Yeah, I said it. And I need y'all to think about this here real quick here. Everything that Ultron does is in secrecy and that he prepares for it. He knew how to fight. You knew how to fight the Avengers, right? Even states he made specific viruses to counter them and to counter them on a genetic level. But yet, the funny part about this here is, right, the virus worked when it was in contact with them. Wasn't airborne or, you know, some type of infection. He had to come in contact with them as well. And the funny thing is, we don't know if he can penetrate through Megatron's body. Megatron's body is made out of Or-13, which is the concept of power. They literally turn concepts into their alloys. I don't think anyone really quantifies or understands that here. They basically do how Ultron does with adamantium, vibranium, or Uru. And here's the funny thing, right? They do it better. Shockwave figured out how to turn a literal concept into armor, into an alloy, into a metal. Like, how you gonna just explain to somebody, like, oh, this new metal here? Yeah, that's made out of power. What you mean, power? Like, yeah, what the... And then the sheer fact that Danco says his antimatter might work, but again, we then have to go back into durability. Nah, see, here's the funny thing, right? Antimatter is a bypass. It's a hack. It's a hack that's meant to bypass the opponent's durability. And to be kind of honest with y'all, though, Ultron really ain't that consistent when it comes to being Avengers team buster. The more consistent portrayal of Ultron is that, yes, he is a Thor level being. He is a Thor level threat. Or at least a current Thor level threat, as he's traded blows with Sentry. He's traded blows with Thor. He's overpowered Thor and Wonder Man at the same time when he had a much stronger body. But again, when he doesn't have those bodies, or when he doesn't have that kind of preparation on him, Ultron gets crushed. And again, we know Ultron isn't immune to durability bypasses because, again, he still can't counter Vision's phasing fully. Now, again, you could probably say Vision has layers to it. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Antimatter is a bit more direct than that. Antimatter annihilates everything about a person. Sure, not his soul or anything, but again, annihilates everything of it. And then you also have to be careful about the versions of Ultron that you use because they might be more vulnerable to certain things than the other. Ultron currently is fused with Hank Pym. That, again, does not help him at all in this fight here. And here's the reason why, right? Adding the more organic compounds to Ultron gives Megatron a much easier, I guess you could say, way to just eviscerate him. Because the funny part is, he still has Hank's heart. He still has Hank's body. He still has his upper half that's connected to him. So if Megatron unleashes antimatter or unleashes a devastating blast from his fusion cannon, then he obviously just, well, I think we all can picture how a bloody and metal coverage is just there. Danco also doesn't even talk about how Megatron is literally the top 3 in the 1%ers. The 1%ers are pretty much the strongest Cybertronians that are above the rest here. And we actually see Megatron beat down Scorponok, who's also a 1%er, beat Overlord, again another 1%er, beat Tarn, and he and Optimus can go back and forth while Grimlock just outdoes him. Again, these are simple things here. And again, I do not understand how when people actually go for Transformers content, they don't even have a grasp on it. You get what I mean? They only talk about what's already there. Or, well, no, that's not even what the prophets say. They talk about what other people say, like, oh, well, he was able to take the refinery explosion, and this gets calculated to moon level. What have y'all not looked up the other parts of the information that goes within it? Oh, well, he fought the Decepticon, which is a universal threat. No, it ain't. Do y'all understand what creation means for the Transformers cosmos? Or any Transformers franchise? Optimus is out here fighting beings like Baron Kaza, who can transcend the entropy cloud, which was going to destroy the microverse. The microverse being beyond space and time of the original IDW multiverse, and yet Optimus fought this dude and actually won. Then you have the sheer fact that, again, Danco actually said that, well, Megatron is fighting universal level threats. Dude, what? No. The Decepticon is an evil, malevolent multiverse. I have discussed this in my Transformers cosmology video about how the dead universe operates within that specific franchise, within this specific franchise here. And the sheer fact that Megatron was able to injure him not once, but twice, and actually beat him twice, with, again, there being statements of how devoid the dead universe itself, or the dead multiverse itself here, is just as dangerous as any creature in the cosmology, being able to destroy it by simply merging with it. He can merge with the entire IDW multiverse, including its higher dimensions, which transcend, okay, what's that word again? Transcends the multiverse to the point where they look small and insignificant. Again, you already have the sheer fact that the Transformers cosmology already has quantum mechanics operating in every franchise, in every multiverse. And then you have the sheer fact that quantum mechanics, if you actually did the research, Danco, actually goes into Hilbert space, which deals with infinite dimensional properties. Meaning, again, there's an infinite dimensional properties within each and every multiverse, which is separated, again, by the continuities. Now, let's go back to Megatron, who also scales to this here. Megatron cannot be hacked by Ultron. He cannot be infected by Ultron. You know why? Because Ultron does not have a counter to Megatron's body. First of all, you have to show that Ultron can actually affect concepts. Megatron's body is, again, made out of Ore 13, which is the concept of power. Then you also have to show that Ultron can not only get past that, but then get past Megatron's innards, which are covered in a pan-dimensional layer. This means that if you stab Megatron or try to put something in his body, it's going to go to another dimension. You're not getting that arm, that leg, that gun, or that sword back. It's going to stay in there until he decides to give it back to you. And then he might use you as a focal point to connect himself to a much stronger black hole than the original one he used back in the G1 days of the comics. And again, Megatron can teleport. Megatron can, well, Megatron can teleport and use that pan-dimensional energy within him to actually damage his opponents. Imagine somebody throwing their blood at you and then you just teleport away. And then Danco says, well, he's fought Hulk, he's fought Thor, he's fought Silver Surfer. He fought Silver Surfer and was able to beat him because he had the Soul Stone. Hank's body allowed him to use the Soul Stone, something he couldn't do because, again, Ultron was a machine. Bro had no soul. And again, he was using the Soul Stone to fight against Silver Surfer and Adam Warlock, and they were tanking it. They were casually just fine with it here. It's just the sheer fact that Ultron, again, used it to amplify his other abilities. He's not fighting Silver Surfer nor Adam Warlock on a regular basis. To say that he's trading blows with them on a regular, then you might say, oh, wait, but he's actually fought Adam Warlock when he was in his failing stage. Yeah, I understand that. But again, Adam Warlock was younger. He was weaker. To the point where he can get stabbed through. To the point where sealing a crack in reality left him drained. Dude was not at the peak of his power like he should be. Where he's able to casually just one-arm and backhand the Hulk, or just casually manhandle and toss around Thor like he's absolutely nothing. So at the end of the day here, who do I think would win? Again, if you guys have watched my Shockwave video versus Ultron video, again, I gave it to Shockwave. And I have very good reasons to. Shockwave was made out of multiple concepts. Ultron has never been able to hack concepts before. And again, if you really want to get into it with Megatron,
it could very possibly be worse here. Megatron is a far better strategist and is far more intelligent than Ultron. Ultron got away with so much stuff that he did was because, again, he was built in secrecy, caught everybody off guard, and he was prepared for everything and everyone because, again, who was his daddy? Hank Pym. He had his contingency plans. He had his preparations. And again, he was able to come up with drones and get his hands on things like adamantium or vibranium, depending on the continuity. And you know what? I would do y'all a favor. I will actually have an Optimus Prime versus Superman video. And I will have a Megatron versus Final Form Ultron video, which again is his most powerful version. So, with that being said here, ladies and gentlemen, just remember that if they do not actually understand a franchise, whether it be Marvel, DC, Transformers, or Capcom, then again, they do not have the credibility to actually speak on these kind of subjects. Now, again, I know I understand that I might sound harsh on Danco, but here's the thing, right? I don't respect people who plagiarize information. And I also don't like when people jump on a bandwagon and try to write it and try to milk it for content when they don't know anything about it. And the best research that they did was on a Quora or a Versus Battles wiki or even a respect thread from something like Comic Vine. The information is directly in these comics. All right? If you don't know, then y'all better ask somebody who does know. But that's going to be all for today. Y'all comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and y'all have a blessed day. Peace.